Right, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome to the channel. Now what I'm doing at the moment is trying to get my game ready for the Sunshine Tour Q School, which is early next year. And this channel pretty much consists of every shot videos from my tournament rounds. So if you like this content and you are new, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be filming pretty much every tournament all the way up to the Sunshine Tour Q School. But this video is quite a special one because I started, well, it's my best round ever as a pro and as a golfer. I started filming every shot rounds a couple years ago on the Jamaica Tour, and the first one I ever did, I shot 90. Like, it was a mixture of nerves, filming the round, getting back into tournament golf, but I decided to upload it because I thought it'd be cool once I got my game in a better place after, a lot of work, to look back and see the progression. Today is like a massive breakthrough round, so we're going to get into every single shot and I'm going to commentate over it as we usually do. But just want to say thanks to all the people that have watched the channel and have been supportive in the comments, even when the game wasn't in a good place. Yeah, the support has meant a lot, and we've now finally got a reason to, a reason to get behind the channel for my golf through this video anyway. And the next tournament is actually tomorrow, so we're going to be filming that as well. But anyway, let's get into this video. Enjoy, and yeah, finally a good round. So the first hole at Irene is 334 meters. Nice short one to kick off. Very forgiving off the tee. Apart from there's a driving range right, OB right. So that sort of like stops at 280. So driver for me is sort of getting past that. So little squeezy cut, which was pretty much the shot I had for the whole week. I came into this week not hitting driver very well, and I just wanted something to sort of like keep it in play. So the only thing I had was to tee down driver and just get quite squeezy on and hit this little stinger fade, which I kept in play. I could still get it out there around 300 meters. So yeah, nice start. Birdie in the first, nice little pitch in there tight. Second is a very tight par 5, so tight that you can be tempted to sort of play this as a 3-shotter, but with this drive that I had, this is probably as bad as I can hit this driver. First one went out to the right. OB is all down the right, the driving range that you're playing around on the first hole as well. And yeah, just knocked this one out. And this was sort of in between path and mud, so I didn't get relief for the actual path, but I had 220 and the trees were high enough where 7-iron, I mean, I can hit a 7-iron very hard and get it there, but I wasn't sure it was going to cover the trees, and there's out of bounds right, so I just hit it over the trees with 9-iron, and then just hit, one of the worst pitches I've ever hit in my life. I actually thought this come off all right, but it came off really hot. I landed just past the pin, and then I was faced with this early on, which is not ideal. So this is like 12 foot, little double breaker, knocked it in, and that was big for the momentum. I moved on to this long par 4, 472. This is off. This is camera shot quite low. This is actually the stinger cut, which looks kind of different when you're under it. But really nice drive here. Got it in play. Had around 125 into a back left pin, which you don't want to get too aggressive towards. So hitting an alright wedge shot with gap wedge, left myself around 20 foot. This is actually a downhill slider. About 1.5 foot of break. Just swallowed up the ball. And yeah, off to a nice start. 2 under through 3 holes. And then hit a decent shot into this par 3 with 7-iron from 185, 188. And had a swinger from about 10 foot, if that. But I sort of didn't quite, I thought it would straighten up at the end, but it just continued to move right. But anyway, onto hole 5. So this is again a tight, this is like most of the golf course, it's just very tight. Just hitting my stinger cut there. Left myself around 100 meters and sort of had the tree in the way here, so I had to hit a little squeezy sort of like cutty one just to get it around. Played for the safe side and had I'm not going to say makeable, it's like a foot of break off the right. Got pretty quick near the hole and had this for par, which are knocked in. The next hole we actually played off the forward tee yesterday, but they moved it back into the corner, and this was just like one of the worst golf swings I've made for a very long time. Sort of like old tendencies getting stuck, just getting a bit lax on the swing feels that I had. Left myself 160, big high cut over a tree to a safe spot just right of the green. And yeah, pretty happy with that. Knocked it up there, close. And then this is quite a cool hole. So this is like downhill, par 3, plays 10-15 down. And I think this is just a little sand wedge. And unfortunately you can't really see this down, but it actually looked pretty good for a long time. Left myself this, which was, 4 or 5 foot up the hill. I knocked it in for birdie. The leaders, just for information, were starting around 8 under, and I will tell you where I am in relation to the leaders after 9 holes. So this is a short par 4 where you want to keep it slightly further left than I did there, just because there's a bit of tree trouble. Anyway, I got fairly lucky and had a shot from 100, so this is 60-degree wedge, just playing it up over the tree. That green at the start, at the front of the green, it just like slopes right back into the water, so you've got to be careful. If you get one ripping, you can easily come back in. But played it fairly safe and left myself around 15 foot, which was a quick part of quite a lot of swing, and that was like, yeah, that was as close as you can go really. Anyway, still 3 under through 8, onto hole 9, which is a par 5, fairly forgiven off the tee unless, it is quite bunkered, but you can aim up the first hole on the left and it's hit like a squeezer cut, which is what I did. Got fortunate because I missed all the bunkers, had 225 back into the wind, hit just like the sweetest 4-iron to the middle of the green, which is where I was looking at, and then had this putt for eagle on the 9th hole. So yeah, 4 under after tapping in for birdie at this point. And I'll tell you after 2 holes, because that's when roughly the leaders would have been crossing through 9. So this is a dogleg right par 5. You're just trying to basically hit, again, this set up really for the shot they had, which was a squeezy low cut. Hit really nice here, and this was the best shot of the day. So it's like 225, again, it's like a 4-iron number into wind, and I just hit this like really nice cutty 4-iron, come off so sweet. Centre of the green, had this from, I'm going to say around 15 foot for eagle, and slotted it in, and at this point I was thinking, Jesus, Yazzus, I was getting a bit nervous. In fact, it wasn't actually too bad at this point. Just a bit like, I kind of felt like the night before this round, I was like, I kind of feel like a good round is coming. Just need something, nicely under par, just to break through that barrier, because I've been shooting, a few like just under par rounds, but it'd be nice to just break through and go low. And yeah, sort of what happened today. So this was, and I'll tell you what the leaders were after this putt. This was a perfectly straight putt, 15 foot down the hill, knocked it in to get to 7 under through 10. And the leaders at this point, I think they actually turned at 7. The leader was 1 over through the front 9. So at this point I was pretty much tied up at the top. And that swing there that you just saw, that was sort of a feeling that I had for the whole back 9. A lot of the trouble is on the right on this golf course. So on the back 9 is like OB or hazard down most of the right hand side of the holes. And I had this nice feeling where I just sort of like got slightly over the top and felt a bit hold-offy with it. And that feeling I just took through the whole back 9 to play those holes, because I've just felt so confident starting it down the left and just sliding it off of it. This hole I got a bit scared of going long because there's a hazard long, so I held back with sand wedge, and I had a testy little 5-footer there for par, which was a massive momentum booster just to continue getting through that hole with a par, because to be honest, I've never been bogey free for a round of golf in my life, professional tournament or friendly match. So this was, I had that sort of in the back of my mind as well. Bogey free round would be great. And this is like the stretch of holes where, you know, if you're going to drop shots, you're going to drop them here. This is not the longest of par threes, but it's a testy green. And I had a big swinger here, but managed to, you know, hit a pretty good putt. Left myself this up the hill, which I hold. Happy to get off of there with par. Holding on to the 7 under. And this is the toughest hole in the back nine. So 425 tightens up at like 280. I just played that, you know, that hold off over the top feeling one with 4-iron. Didn't strike it very well at all. Got slightly lucky with the kick here, but still had, this is still like 188 meters. Obviously water, short, left, long. Hit 7-iron, and this thing just went so far. It's playing slightly downhill, but if anything, the wind was sort of like into off the right. And yeah, this was the big moment in the round. Just really wanted to save par. Did not hit a good chip. This thing checked up hard up the green and had this for par. And this was massive for me. I was like, yeah, it's the first time I was actually showed like any emotion throughout the day. That par putt was like really important. Because I knew that the last 4 holes you can make some birdies. This is a short par 4. And you can go at this green. It gets very, very tight. I just played the sensible option, just hit 7-iron, had 125 to the back flag. And to be quite honest, this is where I started getting just a tiny bit defensive in my strategy. I didn't want to go at this just because I was worried if I, you know, pull it slightly, it's like going through the back and I've got a tough up and down. So I wimped out, you know, be PG, wimped out a bit, but still had a putt for birdie, which I, as you can see, I did not put a good stroke on at all. So 3 holes left, 7 under, par 3, short par 3 with water short and a green that slopes massively from back to front. This was, yeah, around 125, hit a gap wedge, pushed this a tad, but luckily enough, it just ripped nicely back down the hill and had this for birdie. And yeah, this that was just the worst part of the day. That thing moved like a foot and it was downhill and I was just like, I hit this, and that's, you know, a bit defensive, but I've never been in this situation where, you know, I was like 7 under with 4 to play. Probably could have got a bit more aggressive on both of those holes in terms of like the wedge shot on 15 and the putt there to give myself a bit more of a look. But either way, this was like a big test. Again, just trouble all down the left, and I just relied on that squeezy cut, playing it off of the trouble. Left myself 169, and this is either a 9 or a wedge. Hit pretty hard, straight the pin, and then had another eagle putt. And I was just thinking, you know, just roll this one up by the hole, not knob it 6 foot by or 5 foot by. But that, yeah, that was quite a big relief. So to 8 with 1 to play. This is again drivable but out of bounds and trouble all up the right. So I'm just playing a 5-iron. Felt that, you know, over the top, cutty feeling with a 5. Just fading it off the trees. Not the best strike. Left myself slightly further than I wanted to. And again, this is a bit defensive. 140-ish, played a wedge. Just didn't want to miss this long left because I know it's not good. But as well, I mean, I hit a good shot. I just sort of misjudged that. Didn't want to leave it this far short because this is, yeah, this is like 60 foot. Up the green, knowing I'm bogey free and I've never done this before. And yeah, I left myself this, which is 5 foot. And this thing was just outside the left edge. This is where I was shitting myself a bit, I'm not going to lie. I was nervous over this putt. But yeah, we hold it, and I was very relieved. So yeah, knocked it in, pretty happy to finish strong. Bogey free, first time ever. I'd do a little chat after the round, so let's get into that. yeah, that was not really expected. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, it's the first round I've ever shot bogey free. The lowest round I've ever shot on a pro tournament is 4 under. The lowest on camera is 3. This is obviously a massive jump. The leaders are currently 7 under through 9. So I got a 1-shot lead after shooting level 8 under. So yeah, it's pretty mad that was. And yeah, surprisingly didn't feel too nervous. Felt fairly comfortable until like the last couple of holes. Like the last 17th birdie putt, I felt nervous, and the 18th par putt from like 5 foot, I felt very nervous, but still put a fairly good stroke on it, so it's good. But anyway, just gonna have a drink and wait to see what happens. We've got a few guys, we've got loads of guys out there, obviously on 7 after through 9. So yeah, in the lead at the moment, but we'll see.